Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast presents ANZCAR Wednesday nights. We are here for our fun one, and once again, the pit strategy's decided it wants to get in on the act early in events here. We'll turn that off. We're heading out to qualifying, and pretty excited for the coverage for tonight because we are joined by Chris Purnell, as we have been every Wednesday night for the last few Wednesdays, but got Edward Foster with us here, and Edward, welcome to the stream. It is a pleasure to have you here. Normally used to seeing you out and about on track, but dare we wonder why you're not out there tonight?
I think anybody who watched the stream last week knows why I'm not out there tonight. It's look, it's I should know the rule book because I actually wrote the rule book for this series, and look, it was one of those things that touched with Lockie under the caution in the Legends race. It was meant to be a friendly nudge. Cars got hooked up and spun us both, but those are the rules that if you make contact with somebody under caution like that and impede them in any way, it is a suspension at the discretion of the steward. So I've been given that ban. I'll cop it on the chin, and of course it gives me an opportunity to come up here with you guys and actually shoot the breeze and watch some good racing.
I'm not going to lie, I've been looking forward to this, and I was saying to you just beforehand, I've been looking forward to you jumping in the stream to hear you and Chris with the amount of history you've got. Good history, not bad history. It sounds like a bad description when you do that. Mixed history, but to listen to you two get involved, and I'm just going to play third wheel in this Wednesday night ANZCAR date night that I'm participating in, and you guys can run the stream. But I'm looking forward to tonight. It's going to be good. And obviously, Chris, welcome back. After what was an unsuccessful Fall Guys evening for me this evening. I've been pretty dirty about it, as you know, but looking forward to fun in this one.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm looking forward to it. Another good night of Wednesday night racing for us. Unfortunately, a little bit of a small grid this week, so if you're interested in doing some great Australian oval racing, make sure you join the league, get involved. We need to build these grids up and have a bit more fun along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say on that, New Zealand, of course, having just gone across to daylight savings, so for a week they've got a bit of an old overlap with us as well, so could be a reason for some of the absences. But yeah, certainly hoping for a good race tonight, but it'd always be nice to have a couple of extra vehicles out there.
Yeah, I must admit, I dropped into one of the streams that I'd love to get a grid. I think it was in probably the second last or third last round of the Grand Nationals. And I said, I'd love to see a grid of 40 or 50 cars out there. And someone dropped into the chat and said that would be terrible. So
it likely would.
Yeah, but it'd be awesome from a viewer's perspective. That's all I'm interested in, is watching the race. There'd be wrecks everywhere. So, look, we've actually run and won the two-lap qualifying there. Hamish Gallagher is the man on pole position. Do you want to take us through what we're seeing tonight, Ed?
So of course we're seeing these street stocks from Lanier Motor Speedway. Lanier National Speedway, I should say, it's called these days. We've got 9 drivers out there tonight, all running in the identical iRacing street stock. It looks like very, very close qualifying, especially amongst the top 5, first to 5th, all covered within the same tenth of a second. And of course, after we finish up with our 40 laps here in the street stocks, we're going to be back here a few minutes later in the Chevrolet late model. So that should be a very interesting race as well.
I'm not sure who Shrekzilla is, but they've dropped into YouTube and said 50 cars means I'd finish P50. So, obviously, a heap of confidence there in what would go on. But, yeah, that's good to see.
I believe Shrekzilla is Carl Withy, who's actually out there at the moment. He's qualified in P8, so he's going to be starting outside of the 4th row. Probably a good idea to actually go through our starting grid as well at the moment, because we've got the cars just about to roll off for their parade laps. So we've got Hamish Gallagher and John Sorensen sharing the front row, Jason Hartigan, Mirko Dortnack, row 2, row 3, Lachlan Urquio and Matt Hunter, row 4, Norman Clark, and the aforementioned Carl Withy, and Matthew Raymond all on his own back there on row 5.
It's another good reason to have you here as well, to just give us a little bit of a schooling on how to pronounce some of the names, because I've been saying Urquio for pretty much the entire stream. And Daltonac is only a new one to my vocabulary last week when Chris corrected me. So doing our best, but going to get a little bit of an education here, as well as we are about to get this one underway. A short track. We'll get you guys to gather your thoughts about this circuit. I can tell you I've never driven here. As you know, my experience is a little bit limited in the oval stuff, but I am rapidly learning, definitely on the pace car train. And yeah, the Mustangs pulled off here. It's going to be Gallagher and Sorensen who are going to lead us away. And here we go. We've got lap 1 of 40. It's going to be tight and fast here, with the track being quite a short, flat one. And we've got Gallagher in front from Hardigan. Hopefully plenty of green flag running.
How's the move from Carl? He's up to 5th already.
Yeah, he slotted in there very well, going 3 wide into turn 1. Came out of turn 2 ahead of those guys. But we're side by side for the lead at the moment. Hardigan on the inside. Gallagher hanging in there around the outside, of course, getting the nicer runs off the turn with that larger radius that he's able to drive off the outside of the turn, hanging in there nicely, but Hardigan's just going to be fighting for that to clear him, and it looks as though he's done it. He's been able to slide the rear bumper of that number 51 right up in front of the 13, and now it looks as though Sorensen in the 8, and we've actually got trouble down the back of the field, and we've got our first caution of the night.
Absolutely, we do. And I
Looks
was
like Matt Hunter.
Yeah, Matty Hunter there. I'll bring it up on screen. I just noticed there that John Sorensen's actually running the Batmobile livery, which is why you heard a little wry chuckle from me in the background there as I noticed that was what was being run. It looks fantastic. I love it. So I'll just jump back on the replay here with Matty Hunter. Let's check out what's going there. He's just got a little bit loose in the back. Yeah, he has. Just a little bit loose in the back there, rotated around. And that one there pretty harmless, so he will get back under and get it back on track, which is what we want to see. Definitely want everyone finishing this one tonight. We've got no drivers to spare, so we definitely want to get everyone through all of the 40 laps to come. So obviously no pit stops required here. Such a short track. Tyre wear. 40 laps?
Won't be an issue.
Won't be an issue?
No.
Certainly not running as they are under caution at the moment either. If they get another couple of cautions, it'll obviously help with the wear. But certainly in the street stock race we ran earlier on when we first started up, our first night of Speedway actually, we ran there and tyre wear did not really come into play at all. You can overheat the tyres if you're a little bit too aggressive with it, but you can always bring that back with a little bit of gentle driving as well. So as for the wear, certainly I don't believe it's going to affect these guys at all. They can afford to run flat out.
And what are we doing in terms of track here? Like obviously it's a relatively flat oval for us. We're about to get back under green flag, so I'll grab your thoughts in a moment about how you manage a run here. There's a bit of a delayed start there from John Sorensen, so he's been mobbed, and Carl Withy will be out of his skin. He's up into 4th. And
yeah,
down on the inside
there. For 3rd actually. He's given Lockie the door, and he's come there into 3rd place. So it's Hardigan, Gallagher, and Withy in the top 3, and Urquio just sitting on the outside there of Sorensen. It looks like they've actually got a bit of a run there, and Withy, Sorensen just getting his nose down the inside. Withy getting a bit scared up the track there, I think, and he's made some contact with Sorensen. Like that might bring out a caution, or if they kept going.
No, he's given him the double tap. He span him one way and then span him the other to get him straightened out and back online. So we keep getting to run this one under green flag. Hamish Gallagher, fastest man on the track at the moment, 14.73. In fact, just improving that to a 14.69. So Carl Withy has crashed in the background. Hopefully that does not bring out a yellow flag.
Going to have to. He stopped on the front stretch. I can't believe it hasn't yet, but he's underway.
Back
and the leaders, he's come right out in front of the leaders there. That's going to slow Hardigan down. Hardigan's got a big shot in the rear. Gallagher nowhere to go. But that was Hardigan saying, get out the way. What are you doing? Get out the way. And it looks like it's been message received as Carl's moved right up the track out the way.
A little bit of pinball wizard there happening at the front of the pack with Withy slowing them down. So he's now a lap down. Of course, no requirement for him to make room, but not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. So Hardigan's still out in front from Gallagher. Lachlan Urquio? Quizio?
He says Aquijo, so you can say that. You can also say that it's actually Spanish, so you can say Urquijo as well and be just as correct.
Okay, Urquijo in 3rd place, Sorensen in 4th, Norm Clark 5th, Matty Hunter up into 6th place, and Doutanak in 7th, followed by Matty Raymond. Carl Withy bringing up the field as we saw. 25 laps to go in this one. Let's keep the green flag race running, boys. We've got a bit of a spread out now, which is definitely what you want to see here. I remember running speaking of the street stocks, I actually have driven around this track. I accidentally got into a street stock race here as one of the very first things that I did after getting out of my rookie license, and I thought, what the heck have I got myself into? Because it's such a short, tight track when you're not used to running these cars. It's certainly an awakening we've got to move on here from Gallagher.
Gallagher sending one right down the inside, and he's tapped Hardigan sideways. That's rude. Hardigan is not going to be happy with that whatsoever. They made a little bit of side-to-side contact. I'm not quite sure how that ended up resulting in Hardigan going around, but it looks as though Hardigan's just been right on that. Oh, no, Gallagher's actually taken to the apron there, which is perfectly legal to get around Hardigan, but unfortunately has not been able on that flatter piece of track to keep the nose down. Of course, the banking does help you turn. You're on the flatter piece of track there, and his nose is just washed up into the side of Hardigan. And knowing Jason as I do, there's going to be some retribution for that one.
He just ended up doing some parallel parking there up against the pit wall down on the inside. So, speaking of retribution, I'm sure Quijo will not have forgotten last week. He's probably disappointed you're not out there, Ed, to provide some retribution for that little stunt at the start of the race last week.
To catch me first, mate.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow, shots fired. Shots fired very early in the night. It's only 7:43. Plenty of time to go to get some of your messages across there. I was actually just thinking that there's an opportunity for an up late stream here where we actually jump in the Discord and let the drivers, tell us how it really is as part of the race.
It would be an up late stream. You would not want that thing in prime time or anything for family friendly, I can tell you right now. But it's all taken in fairly good nature. These guys all race together all the time. They get on very, very well. So I'm sure there's nothing too serious in terms of feelings being hurt out there. But we do have, of course, Hamish Gallagher in the lead now as a result of the contact there with Jason Hardigan. And Hardigan's shown some really good pace. He shows really good pace just about every week, actually, so I'm sure that he's going to be looking to tear through the field. And if he manages to get to the bumper of Gallagher, I can guarantee you there's going to be some contact.
Can I just bring up quickly, I've just jumped on board with Gallagher, looking in the chase view. Has anybody else seen the license plate on that car?
I can't say I have. I know that he's prone to running the Taylor Swift style paint schemes, but I'm not okay, I can see it now. I'm not going to repeat what it says. But yes, I can definitely see the license plate on that car.
Yeah, that's made my night. That is.
He is actually known for his, as we go back to green, his humorous little things that he writes on his bumper. Even in the Cup Series, he does that. But a very good start there by Hamish Gallagher, and he's tucked right down to Carl just with a full send down the inside. It looks as though Norman Clark's gone in the fence. Not sure if that's going to bring out a caution, but they were 3 wide there. Withy sending it right down inside of Hunter. In the meantime, it's all fairly serene for Gallagher out the front with Sorensen there in 3rd place. Just a little bit of a gap opening up between 1st and 2nd now, and Urquio putting pressure onto the back of John Sorensen in that 8 Batmobile. And the only side-by-side we can see is Jason Hardigan right now. He's side-by-side with Matt Hunter. He's taken 3 positions already, and he's going to be right up with that lead pack again. If we run green, he's going to be back up with that lead group before too long.
Let's jump on board with him now as he chases down Withy, who's decided tonight's the night to discover the accelerator and just send it. Unlapping himself there, I'm assuming, with the lucky dog on that yellow flag, and managing to move himself straight back up into unfamiliar territory, dare we say. But Hardigan now up into 4th. He's now got to chase down Aquigio in 3rd. So 12 laps to go. You would figure he will get there. Sorensen and Aquigio battling for second and third position. Hamish Gallagher shot out a little bit into the lead here. He's got about half a second gap, which is plenty.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Hardigan's going to be able to bridge that gap through to Gallagher. He and Gallagher were very, very close on pace all the way through practice. So I'd be surprised if he gets all the way to Hamish's bumper. Certainly they appear to be stretching out a little bit here as Hamish is coming up to lap Norman Clark, who we saw going to the wall just a little bit earlier on. Probably the closest battle on track right now. We've got Hardigan defending from Matthew Raymond, who's right in there all over his bumper, just loses a little bit of ground as I say that. But not too many positions under serious dispute at the moment. There's a lap to wind down. There's certainly going to be some guys sending some moves in if they're in any way in a position to do so.
The other things I'm enjoying here is there's a fair amount of new camera angles that have come into the stream this week. I'm not sure if it's a consequence of the track that we're at or not, but we've got an extra TV camera or two, so we'll bring you some footage from those views throughout the evening. Currently on one of those new cameras, which gives us this nice inside line view of the track. As we're still on board with Jason Hardigan, Gallagher still out in front now with over a second lead, so you would think aside of a yellow flag or any tragedy, he is on his way here. John Sorensen still battling with Lachlan right behind him in the Batmobile, so you would figure that he's going to send that. A bit of smoke in front there.
Yeah, that's just been keeping an eye on that. That's actually coming out of Norman Clark. He's getting a little bit of smoke off that inside rear. I'm not sure if it's damage related or just the way he's driving it, but going into each turn, he's puffing a little bit of smoke off that inside rear tyre, which is it's not going to help him going quick.
There. Looking at the back corner of that car, it looks a little bit like it's punched in on the back tyre there. So he is now getting lapped with 3 laps to go. So Hamish Gallagher just going under him there, and that fearless liveried car. I'm not sure who that is on the side of the car there, but John
Taylor Swift.
It is Taylor Swift.
He always runs his Taylor Swift paint schemes. Always does. He always manages to find one somewhere.
Can't say
with Taylor on the car.
Clearly, not the number one fan of Taylor Swift. Not for any reason, I'm just not. So I didn't pick that up. But,
I'll tell you one thing, Norman Clark's being fairly, he's perfectly entitled to do what he's doing, but he's certainly not being helpful to Gallagher. Gallagher's lost a ton of time.
Oh, no.
Urquio's actually turned Sorensen around. We're going to go under caution again.
No, we're going to finish. We are done.
Oh, we have finished.
Done.
It was on the last corner, so there might be an investigation into that one, I think, as it ended a top 3 place, but certainly moved Lachlan up 1 spot. So finished that one with Gallagher, Urquio and Hardigan for the top 3. Raymond, Withy, Doubtnack and Hunter, followed by Clark and John Sorensen at the back of the field to bring that one to a close.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was short and sharp, wasn't it?
Very short and sharp. So we're going to head now. There will be a change of server, and so we'll chuck up our little intermission. I was about to say intramission. That's how we're travelling today. I was going to chuck up the intermission. We'll have a quick chat either side of this, but jump back into the new stream in a couple of minutes when the server goes up. Do we know what time that server is going up? Is it only a few minutes away?
Yeah, it gets set up at the conclusion of the race, so however long it takes the admin to go click all the necessary buttons and launch it, it'll be how long it takes. So on average, that'll be about 5 to 10 minutes.
No worries at all. So what we're going to do here is we'll just jump into a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the 100-lap late model race at Lanier National Speedway for ANZCAR, coming to you in around about 5 minutes or so. So do stick around for that.
Simrigs.com is dedicated to not only supplying quality products, but also helping you achieve your potential and goals within the sim community. Race clean. This is the most important thing to progressing in any of the racing simulators out there. Be consistent and stay on your race line. Someone that is much faster will overtake you when they can. Moving off your line to get out of the way can cause more trouble than you think. Have fun. You will wreck quite a bit. Sometimes your fault, plenty of times not your fault. Learn from it. Wreck avoidance is key. Whether you're just starting out and wanting an entry grade setup, or have been in the sim scene for years and needing a well-deserved upgrade, simrigs.com is here to help. So please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. At Ferguson Group Media, we are a full-service marketing agency built for today. Day in, day out, we are about attracting attention to build brands. We believe that every business is a marketing and media business and should have access to a content creating machine. That's where we fit in. We also understand about extracting value from social media marketing and digital marketing. Video is king in producing content for your business. From it, all other forms of content can flow. We are set up to film, edit, and post-produce content at scale. This enables us to keep costs down, allowing small businesses to also access our products. Don't hesitate to reach out and chat about your content ideas. Your local digital marketing agency, Ferguson Group Media. There is an awful lot to learn, and it takes quite some time. Trying to work it all out on your own can be confusing and overwhelming. It can be super hard to get on the track, never mind being competitive. For me, I was lucky enough to get involved with a group of guys that were really fantastic and gave me a lot of knowledge and support. This helped me to progress with my skills and got me up to speed very quickly. After a solid 5 years honing my skills, I now feel I'm in a position to help others. So I'm all in on Virtual Motorsport Mentor and loving every moment. I created this platform to help drivers develop their skills and get the support and feedback they need to improve their drive lines, speed, setups, and more. My goal is to see you become the best driver you can be. The question is, how far do you want to take it? I look forward to helping you drive fast and win more. Chris, Virtual Motorsport Mentor. Would you like to get your brand in front of thousands of avid gamers? FGM eCAst now has sponsorship packages available, so you can get your name in the stream and start getting the audience you deserve. Our productions are cinema and TV standard and will include everything you need to get an ad just like the ones you saw into our live streams and replays. Don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to work together.
All right, everyone, thank you for waiting through the intermission there. We are back into the second part of this evening with the late models again at Lanier National Speedway. About 5 minutes to go in practice before we get into another 2-lap qualifying session, solo qualifying session, of course, and then into the 100-lap main race. Just having a look there, we're on board with Equizio. He's got a tiger on the front of that car, and I want to go fast written on the back of it.
Ricky Bobby.
It is Ricky Bobby. I want to go fast. Great movie. I watched that again just recently, actually. With at the start there, where he jumps in the front seat of his mum's car while she's at the shopping centre. The Quickie Mart, picking up some whatever, milk.
I thought you meant something else just
No,
then for a
yeah,
second,
that's
so
why
I'm glad you clarified
I quickly
that.
picked that up on the back there. I was like, oh, you can't leave that hanging there, Stu. That does not work out well for anyone.
One hell of a matzo ball hanging out there, isn't it? Especially he was in there with his mum. But anyway.
Can't go there. We'll move right along. The quality of the commentary is dropping down like the quality of the driving last week.
And I've been responsible on both
I've been
occasions.
responsible.
So
That's
there you go.
where I was.
Can't hide me anywhere.
That is where I was headed. So US Air Force, Norm Clark running that livery. Who's running the Apple livery? Car 13 is
That's
Hamish Gallagher. So he's decided to take it way back to the 80s. So tell us a little bit about these late model cars. What are we to expect?
Well, they're very similar, I guess, outwardly at very least, to the super late models which we ran in the first Wednesday night Speedway. These, of course, have got a little bit less power. They're a little bit more user-friendly. They're actually, the super late models got very heavy steering. It's quite stiffly sprung. This one's a little bit more compliant, a little bit easier to drive. So I don't imagine that you're going to see the field spread that we saw in the super late model race a few weeks ago. Certainly I would expect it to stay reasonably close for this race. We've got the usual suspects up front, of course. Hamish Gallagher is setting the pace so far in this practice session, only marginally, a couple of hundredths of a second ahead of Jason Hardigan, who in turn is only a couple of thousandths of a second ahead of John Sorensen. And then we've got Lachlan Urquigo in there as well, very, very close, before going back about a tenth to the remainder of the field. So looks like it's very, very close on 1 lap pace at least. So over a 100-lap race, it's going to come down to who takes their tyres at the optimum point and who looks after those tyres when they get on them.
And so in your mind, Chris, when is that optimum point? When are they trying to hold out till obviously cautions will play a factor in when that point comes? But ideally, if you were running this, where would you want to be taking tyres?
I definitely wouldn't like to be one of the first guys taking tyres. Myself personally, if I was running it, I would definitely be waiting more towards the back 30, 40 laps of the run to take the tyres, depending on where the caution falls and how you sort of play that into your hands.
Yeah, the main problem that you get, of course, is you're trying to predict the future of it a little bit, because if you only get one caution in the race, and it happens in the first 20 laps, and you come in and take tyres and you run green from there, of course, as somebody who's been in, you're going to have the advantage. But, of course, if you get a later caution, and then everybody who hasn't pitted yet, remember, you are limited to only 2 sets of tyres to get you through this entire 100-lap race. So you've only got that one change there. So when you decide to take it, it's absolutely crucial. Of course, if you get a late caution, that's fantastic. You can come in and take it then if you haven't already. But if you chance it on the early caution, decide to come in and change those tyres, and then you don't get another one, you're in the box seat.
And what's the window on the tyres? So obviously it does depend on how hard the guys push, but is it a 25 to 40 lap window before they're rubbish, or are we looking at, can you get through 50 to 60 laps on a set of tyres, or is it only 15 or 20? What's the optimal there?
You can actually run 100 laps on these tyres, and it's not going to be the end of the world. The way these tyres operate is you'll have 5 or 6 or perhaps even 10 at such a short track good laps at the start where the car feels really good, and after that it will start to fall away, but it will fall away to a point and then sort of plateau. So it's not really going to get any worse from that point onwards. You would generally say that provided you're driving properly and not ripping them to shreds, you'll be able to run you'll be able to run the entire race distance on 1 set of tyres without too much trouble. The car will still be handling nice, it'll just be overall slower. But of course, if you've got a 20 lap tyre advantage over somebody else, then for the first 10 to 20 laps of your run on those new tyres, you're going to have an advantage over everybody else who hasn't been in yet. But that advantage will start to lessen and lessen as the run goes on, and the tyre performance will actually converge if given long enough.
It's quite a high track temperature for such a late night race. So we're at 20 to 10 at night, and it's at 27 degrees on track.
Yeah, it looks like a 25 degree weather, 27 degrees. Of course, iRacing now model the different layers underneath the surface in terms of temperature. They model the heat soak that would have gone into the ground during the day, and those various layers underneath the ground keeping the temperature in the track. So I would imagine that what they're actually modelling here is it's been quite a warm and sunny day at Lanier National Speedway. The ground has absorbed a lot of that heat, and it's just sort of sticking in the track.
Well, of course, track calendar time is May 15th, so in the middle of summer in the States, so expecting better weather than what we would have on the 15th of May. So we're into the qualifying period now, 2 laps for each car to set their fastest time. It will jump around a little bit as we jump on board with what they dubbed to be the most exciting car on track at that point in time. So you'll see it flick right across at the end as most of the drivers start to complete their fastest laps. We're on board at the moment with Matty Hunter, who is out first, and it's already jumped around at Norman Clark. Let's get rid of that. It's a bit annoying. We'll jump on board.
Yeah, Hunter's just had a spin.
With Hunter, who's just had a spin, so we'll jump off him. We probably could have moved along there. So with Doubtnack here to see how he gets on. First full lap from John Sorensen, a 14.37 at the top of the list at the moment.
All right, so that's a very good lap from him, and if you look at the gap to Mirko, it's half a second back to what Mirko Dortnack has actually managed. Urquidgo, he's just gone top with a 14 flat, so very good lap there from the 0.42.
Yeah, and a 100th between Sorensen and Clark with a 2.3 and a 2.2. Matty Hunter's just put in a 14, so he's now second. I'm not sure if Harding and Gallagher, Raymond and Withy are deciding that they're going to try and run from the back of the pack, given the limited time in the session. I would suggest that may well be the case. Interesting choice from Carl Withy to run from the back of the pack as well. So see how that strategy plays out for them, but I think that's all she wrote for qualifying. So Lachlan Urquijo taking out pole position, dare I say.
Hang on, Carl's just about to come out.
Just as I say that.
We've still got
a few minutes. Yeah, Hardigan's on his way out as well. Although it looks as though he's actually missed the exit cones there, so he might be taking a quick reset and jumping back. Indeed, he is. But it might be worth just sticking with Withy. He is on track at the moment in the number 9, and we'll see what he's able to produce. And he's looped it.
And he's spun it.
Yeah. So the answer is not much to that question of what he can produce. Hardigan's just started on his fast lap as well, and he's got through turn 1 and 2 all right onto the back straight. He'll try and tuck it down nice and low through 3 and 4 and see what this first lap is. Keep it off the wall, and as he comes through there, that is P2 behind Urquio there. About a 10th off. He's got one more lap to do. He's just coming through turn 3 and 4 right now. Coming onto the front stretch, and has he managed to improve? No, he has not.
Interesting.
And to be brutally honest, I'm kind of glad of that, because I did call Lachlan as the pole sitter reasonably early there. So just always the main game here is to make sure that I'm correct in just about whatever I say. So there we go. Good call, Stu. Well done.
It's not done yet, buddy. There's still 2 to go.
There are still 2 to go, potentially.
And we've got a minute 40 left on the clock.
And it looks like Matty
Raymond just appeared in the pit lane. Yep.
He's going to try and take the chocolates at the death knock. So we'll jump on board with him. Be much better, actually. We've only got 9 cars if they actually did all go out individually, so we could watch them. This is good stuff, actually. So we'll see how he gets
a little bit wide there, just trying to carry a bit of speed onto the front stretch, and he's gone way too low. And not for the first time, we've seen a car go around in 1 and 2.
Cars look loose. They look really loose through there.
I think there might be a bit of cold tyre in that, to be perfectly honest. They're not normally overly loose. They're quite neutral handling cars, but he's going to have another crack at it here, see if he can get his second lap. Just running around, see if, yeah, he's a lot more cautious. Look, he doesn't try to really over-rotate the car. That's going to be slow, unfortunately. It's going to be better than the lap he just did, but it's not going to be fast. And hasn't managed to hold it down there either. Don't know if he got a piece of the wall.
Huge tight section coming out of the corner and just pushed right up. 14.9.
It's as though Hamish Gallagher is not going to set a time unless he appears very, very soon. Maybe a bit of strategy there starting at the rear. Maybe he just wants to stay out of Hardigan's way after the earlier race. I'm not sure. But it looks as though Urquijo is going to start there on pole position. I believe that is his first pole position in ANZCAR, starting right up there alongside Jason Hardigan with last week's feature race winner Matt Hunter there in third. John Sorensen joining him on the second row. We've got Norman Clark and Carl Whitty there on the third row. Fourth row, Mirko Dortnack and Matthew Raymond. Hamish Gallagher bringing up the rear all alone on row number 5.
We had a few firsts last week because we believe that was Matty Hunter's first ANZCAR win as well.
It was.
So knocking up the firsts here on the Wednesday night Speedway night with ANZCAR. Good to see. I do have to quickly mention Aftershock PC's one of our streaming sponsors, Ryan and the crew at St Kilda Road. I feel like I say that just about every night because I do, but we're very thankful to have them on board. If you're looking for a new gaming PC of any sort, whether it be one to support your iRacing habit or any other type of gaming that you do, then Ryan and the guys at Aftershock are the ones to look after you, and we are greatly thankful for having them on board. And of course, virtual motorsport mentor Chris Purnell. Take it away, Chris. It's over to you, mate. This is your business to spruik before we get going. We've got one lap. Make it happen. You've got 14 seconds.
So I just try to help everybody out with coaching and give you the advice to progress your career further with the sim racing stuff and give you the right tools to move forward quickly. So that's all I'm going to say tonight. Can highly recommend Aftershock as well. I've got one of their PCs. They do an awesome job. That hasn't missed a beat once either, so...
Purnell probably being a little bit self-effacing there because there's a number of drivers in the ANZCAR League and dotted through the leagues throughout Australia who have benefited greatly from Chris's tutelage, patient tutelage in many cases, and never heard anything other than positive feedback coming out from Virtual Motorsport Mentor. So he doesn't like to talk himself up, but certainly we'll do that for him. Does a great job. So we're coming around here to have the pace car duck off, and we're going to be under green in just a couple of seconds time.
And away we go. Our pole sitter gets things underway, and he's going to be trying to build whatever lead he can here. We're looking for clean and consistent tents and tyres is the story of this race. So he's got a good run there, Hardigan, down on the inside. So he's going to put some pressure on him down, and does just that. So Hardigan moves into the lead of the race with a really clean run on the low line of the track. Which are here just wanting to tuck in behind him, I imagine, and just consolidate for the minute to see how this one unfolds.
So are we thinking the line's going to move up here and move up the track a little bit as this rubbers up? Or Norman's had a big moment?
Yeah, Norman Clark spinning there all on his own. We'll come back to that in just a moment, Chris. Yeah, Norman Clark going around. It doesn't look like he got any help there, just a little bit hot into that turn. And he's just he's tried to recover that and then just take a bit of a second bite of the cherry, and that has been what's sealed his fate, unfortunately. And he looks like he's just got into the back of Hamish Gallagher, who has run up into the wall, sustaining a little bit of damage to that car as well. 13 looking a little bit worse for wear on the right-hand side.
See it there.
So, yeah, unfortunate for those guys who are under our first caution in this particular race. Hardigan leading.
Fair bit of damage there on the Gallagher car. So, any fast repairs in the race tonight? I didn't see that. No, so we'll have to run with that damage. See how that impacts on his lap times.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just sheet metal. You know, if it doesn't look as though the car's running out of track or anything like that, Looks as though it's still running fairly straight. I don't think that's going to hurt him too much. May have given the rear suspension a little bit of a knock, so it might change the handling so slightly. But I think once he adapts to it, I don't think it's going to take too much speed out of that car.
Being a fixed series as well may even make the car quicker. You just never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, as we roll around under caution, you're asking earlier on, Chris, whether we expected the groove to sort of migrate up the track as the race goes on, and I don't believe it will to any large degree. As it rubbers in, you may see some drivers start to run a little bit higher on the track as the... I apologise. We've actually gone through the green flag while I was talking there, and a big cluster of cars going there into turn one altogether, with Matt Hunter in the middle, Mirko Dortnack looking underneath, and they're all getting through there cleanly as Hardigan sprints out to a lead.
A good start there from Hardigan, as always, creating a gap, which is very difficult to achieve for a sustained period on such a short track with those cautions. So, needs to try and establish where he can a lead if we have that extended period of green flag racing, which we would love to see. Appreciate Doubtnack, Hunter, Matty Raymond as well, just in the back of this group. A bit of a procession, which is to be expected on such a short track.
Doesn't look like that damage has done anything to Gallagher's car. He's still cutting through the field here.
Yeah, he's doing all right. Carl Withy's dropped right to the back, having been forced to the outside, really hung out to dry, and the same thing happening to Matthew Raymond now. So right now, the bottom line is where you want to be. I was just halfway through saying when we went green that as the tyres wear off, they might not be able to run that bottom line as much as they have been, and that might give the next groove up a little bit of a chance to rubber in, but I don't think we're going to see that for a good few laps yet.
Just on board now with Hamish Gallagher, just monitoring a little bit that damage on his car, but as I said, definitely not affecting the pace there as he's applying pressure on Matty Hunter and makes a move down the inside. Looks like he's going to get that one to stick again. Matty Hunter out on the high line there, and does just that. So as Gallagher moves that one to defend the position, back up into fourth, up 5 spots. Did decide to start this one from the back of the grid. Do the drive through. Whether the strategy was to try and avoid any incidents, that didn't quite play out, but it hasn't affected his night so far. So Hardigan well out in front, second and a half ahead of this battle behind, with Doubtnack and Equisio. Just
Matt Hunter there's just glanced the wall actually. He was the one who's been hung out to dry most recently and lost a ton of positions there, and he's just made slight contact with the wall. Won't hurt the car at all, but it has just slowed him up, lost a little bit of momentum, and now he's fending off the advances of Matthew Raymond in that 83. It looks as though Hunter is actually running a little bit higher up the track than he might necessarily need to do. He really needs to, I think he's being a little bit courteous perhaps, but he really needs to get the drive off the corner and get down right to the inside in front of the cars, otherwise he's just going to keep dropping back.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens there, because it looks like he's using the momentum more than he's actually driving the car out of the corner, so I think he might lose a little bit early, but as the run goes on, I think he's going to have better tyre life than some of the other cars.
Yeah, perhaps time will tell, and just head back to the battle for second place. We got Urquijo and Mirko Doubtnack fighting there over second place, as they have been since the drop of the green flag this most recent time. And look who is catching up to the back of these guys. Hamish Gallagher all the way from the back of the grid with that bent up rear end on that number 13. And he has really just joined that battle now. So it's going to be one of these 3 drivers. And at the moment, looking at the pace that they've had, you'd almost put your money on Gallagher to get past the pair of them.
Yeah, definitely. He's surprised me. I think he might have created some different style of side force off that damaged wing, and it looks like it's giving the car a lot more grip mid-corner. So I'm curious to see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I don't think he's gaining too much. He's certainly not losing too much from the damage, but you have to remember that he's been one of the fastest drivers here all night, and granted through the series is Doubtnack grabs a big piece of the wall there, which is going to allow Gallagher the opportunity that he needs to get up down the inside there. And it's going to take him a couple of laps probably to complete this move, but I doubt that Mirko's going to be able to hang on there around the outside for any great length of time. I imagine that we're going to see Gallagher slide up in front of the 62, which is done right there. Move completed, P3 for Gallagher.
I'm just interested to watch how much apron he's using compared to everybody else. He's put 3/4 of the car over the apron where the other guys are only just dipping the tyre on it. So he's obviously finding grip there that nobody else is.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Hamish Gallagher. I've raced against him for quite a large amount of time now. He's been doing ANZCAR. He's no longer a rookie by any stretch. He's won a couple of cup races this year, and certainly, obviously, one earlier on in the night here as well. And he's probably, if he's not the smartest driver in ANZCAR, he's very, very close. He's very clever about the way that he goes about his racing. He's always thinking. He's not going to throw himself into a battle that he's that there's no great benefit in getting into. He's somebody who's always, the brain's always working. You can't really ever accuse him of doing anything thoughtlessly because he's always considering every option. And I imagine that that's exactly what he's doing here. He's run all over the track. He's found what works for him. He's found what's helping him to get that car turned and where he's finding the grip. And he's just doing something there that nobody else is doing as far as I can tell. And it's working for him. So out of all the drivers here, I'm really not surprised to see Gallagher with the one who's actually trying something different as he gets down the inside of second place now.
Yeah, absolutely. A very rapid catch up to the back of Equito there, and Gallagher getting that move done very, very efficiently. So he is the fastest man on track last time around, so moving up into second place. Not too long potentially before he jumps back onto the back of Hardigan. A yellow flag, albeit we don't want to see it, would certainly favour Gallagher now that he's done the hard work to get himself back into second place, or back into second place, up into second place.
Yeah, the yellow flag spice it up a little bit, and that'd bring us right back in. Though Gallagher didn't have the greatest run out of turn 4 there. Just seemed to run up a little bit higher than he may have wanted. Looks as though the front end of that car might just be starting to push a little bit, and he's not really making too much in the way of inroads on Hardigan. We'll see what the gap is this time around.
He took a 10th out of him that lap.
Yeah, just a 10th out. Yeah, he took a 10th out that time, so it's just taken him a couple of laps to get himself settled and sorted. And now he's going to start to probably move. He's just running a bit higher out of 4 than anyone else as well. But it does seem he's just dropped a little bit of time again. But I can guarantee you Hardigan's keeping an eye on who's in second place. As soon as he saw Gallagher's name pop up there, he would have been, okay, well, now's the time to try and preserve this gap.
Yeah, I was just jumping on board with Hardigan just to see comparative line that he is running in comparison to Gallagher, see if he's making his pace the same way, or whether they are doing it a little bit differently.
Yeah, Gallagher's still using more apron than Hardigan is. And Hardigan's also just experimenting a little bit with the late apex. He seems to be doing a little bit through turns 1 and 2, hugging the bottom through 3 and 4 in a way that Gallagher's not really doing. Gallagher's taking a bit of a wider exit, but certainly through 1 and 2, Hardigan's finding that the late apex is working for him.
37 of 100 here. We've been under green flag since lap 3, so it's really good running from our drivers. Just looking back through the pack there.
Carl Withy's actually just made a move on Matthew Raymond, putting Raymond back into the last position in this race, unfortunately for him, and he's got Hardigan bearing down on him as well. And Hamish has actually taken a fair bit of time out of Hardigan.
That was impressive.
2.2 seconds, 2.1 seconds now, and this is going to, having those lap cars ahead is going to slow Hardigan up even more. So we could be on for a bit of action for the leaders. Raymond gives Withy a bit of a bump in the rear, but those two carrying on fairly well as the leader closes down onto them, and it's now down to 2 seconds flat to go from first to second.
So yeah, so from what I can tell, Jason's average lap is about a 14.6, where Hamish's is a 14.5. So there's only a tiny bit in it, but that tiny bit, he's just taking that little bit every lap.
And now look, Hardigan's boxed in amongst the lappers, isn't he? He's got Carl Whittier there on the outside. Now he's got Matthew Raymond there. Looks as though he's going to be able to get down the inside of him. Is Raymond going to fight it? He kind of is. He's not making it easy for Hardigan to get down the inside, and nor should he. One of the things that we love about oval racing is the fact that there isn't that requirement to jump out the way, and that is, of course, bringing Hamish Gallagher in closer and closer. But now Hardigan is clear of those back two, and Gallagher is going to have to negotiate them himself, albeit they are not battling as close as they were when Hardigan came up on them. So let's see how quickly Gallagher can actually clear that traffic.
Just say he's right back up on the back of Carl Withy now, so he needs to make his way around them as promptly as he can. Getting the job done on Withy almost immediately there, but Raymond putting up more of a fight for Hardigan when he tried to get by. So let's see what happens when Gallagher gets up on the back of him. Certainly quicker each lap by around about 3/4 of a second, which is massive in track this short. So should make light work of it, but as I said, no requirement there for that to happen easily. Particularly Raymond, if there is a yellow flag, if it's fortuitous enough for timing for him, he will not get lapped, manage to make his way back around onto the back of the pack. So stick with this battle here. Not quite catching up. The lap time differential last time around, in fact, identical laps between Hardigan and Gallagher, a 14.65. So let's get the job done here if he can, and does. A lot easier under Matty Raymond there for Gallagher on Hardigan. The gap now between them down to 1.5 seconds. So significantly closer, but Hardigan on the back of Norm Clark as well. So more lap traffic coming his way, and this will continue to assist. You can see there Hardigan making his way through. Norm Clark done, Matty Hunter in front of him. That won't be an easy job either. Matty Hunter will not want to go a lap down. So playing right into Hamish Gallagher's hands here as we continue an extended green flag run.
1.2 seconds now. And yeah, that's the biggest thing about being the leader in these oval races, is you've kind of got to fight the lap cars a little bit more, and then when you sort of second, third, the lap cars tend to let you go because they've already been lapped by that point. So it's interesting to see that he's still gaining on him. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out, because I think some of these next few won't be as forgiving with Hamish.
With the in pit lane there, just down on the inside of the track as we went through. So jumping in and doing a stop as Gallagher is down the inside of Matty Hunter, of Norm Clark there.
9 tenths now, boys. We're getting closer.
Yeah, but just have a look there in front of Jason Hardigan. He's got clear track now. He's not negotiating any further back markers. So we're going to get an idea of what the relative pace is. We've been seeing Gallagher take bites and chunks out of Hardigan's lead while they were in clear air, and doing it again. He got through the back markers a little bit better for the reasons that Chris said earlier on. But let's have a look now, because Hardigan may well have been... Look what Hardigan's just done. Look what Hardigan's just done. For the first time, he has actually stuck his inside tyres down onto the apron there through 1 and 2. Now, I imagine that what's gone on is he's actually seen Hamish do that in his rearview mirror, and he's given it a try himself. He's not doing it to the extent that Hamish is, but he definitely tried it out the last lap. I believe that possibly, as they're catching up to Carl Withy again, that that perhaps Hardigan just feels as though he's got a little bit to gain. He's not getting the most out of that car at the moment.
Gallagher quicker again on the last lap. I was going to say as well, even during the last bit of the traffic that Gallagher was getting through, he was still lapping faster than Hardigan when he was in clean air. So definitely got that worked out, and running, as you can see there, almost the whole car down on the apron there. So that is absolutely working for him. Now get a really good idea of the different lines between the two cars. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just have a quick look out the back of the Hardigan car.
Oh, Withy's around. Caution. Caution.
In fact,
Withy has just gone around all on his own and brought that caution out. So that is going. I imagine you've got to see everyone head to the pits.
I was going to say there will be an influx of activity in pit lane. And who will that work for? Does that mean Norm Clark will get a joker? Is that what it's called? A wave through?
A lucky dog.
Lucky dog, thank you.
Yes.
Joker.
I was getting there. I'm still on the Batman train from earlier in the evening.
You'll pick it up, brother.
He'll get there. So
right.
Everyone's in. Obviously tyres, no question.
Tyres definitely. They won't bother with fuel. They got plenty of fuel.
I'm curious to see if Hamish stays a little bit longer to get a bit of damage repaired.
I don't think he will. I mean, what pace is he missing? Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true.
So we're going to see the leaders all pour into the pit lane. Of course, the lap down cars can't come down until the following lap, so we're going to see a few lapped cars come rolling down the pit lane now.
Yep.
And of course, this pit lane goes right the whole way around the inside. And I think Hardigan's actually just missed his box.
Overshot the pit box there.
Oh, this is going to play interesting on the exit then.
Certainly is. Going to be very, very close. We're going to see if anybody goes for 2 tyres. I don't think that anyone's taking that gamble.
Equijo just got 2.
Okay. So Equijo's gone out on 2 tyres. Here comes Gallagher. Is he going to round up Hardigan? No, he's not.
No.
Very close. So I don't blame Upio for actually taking that gamble.
That's a good gamble. I think that'll pay off for him. He's gained the track position.
He's sort of down there in 3rd place, wasn't showing a lot of pace at that stage, but he's now he's going to have that clear air, so let's see what he can do with it.
So if you've just joined us there, Equijo just taken 2 tyres. We've just had a caution period. Still in the middle of that. We had 52, 53, no, 50, yeah, 53 laps of green flag running, where we were just seeing Hardigan and Gallagher about to battle it out before the caution came out and the pace car jumped out onto the track, and Equijo's only taken 2 tyres there. As we go green again, that was very...
Not everyone's even lined up.
I was going to say, that was very, very sudden. The pace car just jumped off. Maybe the Mustang seeing some crowd there that it liked the look of instead, and jumping straight back into pit lane. So Hardigan back out in front immediately. It may have even caught Equijo out by surprise. So
it's those 4 tyres. Extra grip of 4 tyres that got him around the outside there. So we're going to be able to see here if Gallagher's able to pull the same trick. Oh, we got one going around. I think that's the 6. That's Sorensen gone around. Is that going to bring the caution? No, it's not.
It doesn't look like it.
Not yet.
Not
How's
yet.
he going to remove that car?
Wait until someone comes around and cleans him up, though. Oh, the driver's doing really well to avoid him down on the inside. Yeah, how is that not a caution?
Yeah, I don't know how the caution hasn't been waived for that.
Me neither.
We've seen far less events cause a caution than the guy on the apron down in the bottom of the track. So, anyway, moving right along.
Look at this. Now that Urquio's tyres have balanced out, because when you take only 2 tyres, you've got 2 cold tyres on the car and 2 hot tyres, which really does affect the way the car handles. But at the moment, still holding off Hamish Gallagher, though. As I say that, Gallagher having that run down the inside, Lockie getting a little bit of a slide there, and he did hold him off for a number of laps, but it looks as though Gallagher's going to get that move done now into 2nd place, and he can start trying to close that gap back up on Hardigan.
And interestingly enough, the gap between them about the same as prior to that yellow flag period, that caution period, my apologies. So just under 3/4 of a second. Still in some lap traffic too, so now with the clean air, let's see how this develops. Hardigan there, as you picked up earlier, now using that apron down at the bottom of the track to try and generate some pace, even on those new tyres. So not quite as much as Gallagher though, who basically uses the whole thing there working for him. Having said that, the gap now widening with Hardigan quickest on track last time around. Hardigan approaching some lap traffic again. That is Carl Withy on the high side there, just getting in the way slightly. My goodness me.
We all sucked in breath there, didn't we?
Absolutely, and just managing somehow to get that done. I don't know if he was texting while driving, but managing to get out of the way. So good result there. So Gallagher continues to pursue, closing the gap now. Took a 10th on the last lap. You can see there the gap just closing. What I was going to do before the flag came out, we'll just jump on the back of Gallagher's car so you can get a really good understanding of what we're talking about in terms of use of the apron. You can see it there really well with Hardigan almost staying right above the yellow divide, and Gallagher getting right down and across it, and that is helping him. Oh, he's just knocked the wall there, but that is helping him generate some pace out of that car.
Yeah, Hardigan's like he's tried that. I think he's had a go at doing what Gallagher's doing there, but for whatever reason he's not comfortable with it. He doesn't like it, so he's not kept doing it. But it's certainly working for Gallagher, running right down there on the apron. I believe that just running off the banking on the flat there is just inducing a little bit of looseness in the car, which is just helping him to get that car turned a little bit better than everybody else, which is where that speed's coming from, and that's going to be helping him on the long runs as well. So that's probably why I think as we see this go on, there's not too many laps to go now, only 25. But I think as the run goes on, if it goes green to the end, he's going to be right at Hardigan's bumper by the time these closing laps come around, if not already by. It's going to be fascinating.
You talk about those two tyres that Ecclesio took as well. He's now the only other car on the lead lap. So definitely helping him keep in this. Needs another caution period if he's going to close the gap up again and have another go. He's not quite got the same pace as Gallagher and Hardigan though. Only a tenth slower on the last lap around as I say that, but a 1.7 second gap now between the leaders and himself.
Well, with the tyre set limits the way they are, I mean, Lockie's taken 2 tyres there, 2 outside tyres. That means he's only got inside tyres left, and there's not a lot of point doing that because it's just going to induce massive understeer in the car if he goes and takes 2 insides. So what he's got now, caution or not, is going to be what he's got for the remainder of the race. And it seems just as it was earlier on, he's just lacking a little bit of pace to those top 2, who looks to be fighting out for the win between themselves.
You saw Gallagher just
right
rub the
there.
ball again there.
He's there.
He's getting there. I reckon 5 laps and it's going to be on. He's just being patient.
Absolutely. Do you reckon he's going to... I think the only way really to pass here is to wait for the other guy to make a mistake or force the mistake by giving him the bumper. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of that 13 taking chunks out the back of the 51 before too long.
Yeah, I think he'll...
Here he goes.
He's there.
He's just not quite getting the drive off the turn. We're down on that apron. It's helping him rotate the car. But I think it's actually hurting the point where he's just able to get on the throttle there, especially as he gives himself a lot of turning to do by trying to stay underneath the 51.
Yeah, he's definitely got the entry to mid, but Jason seems to be able to get the car to fire off the corner a lot smoother. So I'm curious to see how he's going to work about this. I'm interested.
He's got a lick or stamp is what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's it. He's got to get the move done into the corner. I think that's where he's going to get it done. He can't, he doesn't have the drive off the corner.
Yeah, he's going to have to get a fair chunk of it done if he can complete the move in the one set of turns.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised.
Here we go.
Here we go, have a look.
There. Oh, not quite.
Just scrap the ball a bit, I think.
Almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the street stock race with him getting down on the apron, unable to get the car turned and getting into the side of the 51 there. So I doubt he's going to want to do that again. He's not going to want the 2 incidents on his record in the one night's worth of racing. But certainly he's certainly got the better speed at the moment. So if he can get the nose down there, he's just got to nail that drive off, and I think that's where Hardigan might have him.
13 laps to go. Towards the end of that one.
Catching Hunter again. Is he going to block Hardigan, help out his fellow Kiwi? I don't think so, but stranger things have happened.
Just gonna give him the room.
He's going to have to use some lap traffic here as a pick, I think. That's probably his best option. If he can get his nose up the inside as Jason's turning in front of a car, I think that might be an option. Oh, there's a little bumper.
Come on, boys, get those bumpers out. There's not that long to go, less than 10 laps to go now. We're on lap 91 of 100, and it's come down to a fantastic battle between these two. They're absolutely nose to tail. The thing is, how's that passing move going to happen? We've seen Gallagher's got the entry to mid-corner advantage. Hardigan's got the advantage off the corner, which is so important. And like you say, Chris, it might come down to lapping some traffic when Hardigan has to go offline.
Wiki there just moves to the high line to let these
Here
guys
we go.
through.
He's got to run. Oh, he's going to try the outside and cut back. Oh,
Here we go.
Here we go.
Not
Is
quite,
he there?
Not quite.
Just about. Oh, just about. Not long to go. That could have been his best opportunity. And certainly he realises he's got a bit of a deficit off the corner to Hardigan so far, and really tried to manipulate that, but it didn't quite happen.
I like what he's doing, but he's moving around. He's trying to find that extra little bit where Jason's very fixed on his line. Hamish isn't afraid to try a different line and move around to try and find that little bit of extra speed. Here we
he's
go.
gone
Oh,
very
underneath
close
him
again.
Attack the people too. This is brilliant short track racing.
4 left now. How is he going to get it done, or is he going to get it done? He's down on the inside there again. He's trying to work his way to advantage. This is up again.
It's hard to see where he's going to do it unless he throws caution to the wind and sends one. I'm not sure he's
Push
going to want
hard
to
here.
after the first run.
Yeah,
Here he
there
goes.
he is. He's
Here he
doing a
goes.
little
Bit of a nudge. He's backed out of it. He's backed out of it. Not wanting to get into Hardigan 2 races in a row. He's backed out of it, unfortunately. And I think that is going to be all she wrote. He's not going to catch that gap back up.
I don't know, he seems to have a lot of pace.
Well, it's the last lap, so if he's going to do it, it's going to have to be in the last turn.
Yeah, I
and
think
he's
Jason's
not
got this
really
one.
close enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to see Hardigan 51 as he sends it. Gallagher sends it right in there. But Hardigan's going to cross the line in first. Gallagher right on his hammer there in second. And Lachlan Urquio is going to come home in third position. The last car on the lead lap, actually.
Really, really solid running. Big sections of green flag racing there, which we definitely enjoyed seeing, with Gallagher coming from the back of the field to finish up in second place, and Hardigan just lapping up the pressure almost all race long, really. So a great race for us to get to watch as Hardigan here does some celebrations. Kind of bump it into the wall there and really rip those tyres through. As we
Come on, Jason, you can do better than that, mate.
get to the end of this race, you might have to sit a week out for that effort. That's just not really where it's all at. No, he's doing all right. Here we go. We get a close up. Can't quite see it there with that one.
Yeah, fantastic job there from Hardigan anyway, knowing to prioritise. I'm not sure if he was really just focusing on those exits, but he certainly had the advantage on the exits and managed to hold that advantage to the end of the race, whereas for a while it didn't look as though that was necessarily going to be the case. So great drive from him, great drive from Gallagher to come through the field, great drive from Lachlan Urquio there to come home in P3, lapping everybody else in the process. So yeah, close race, great short track racing, exactly what we come to see, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. Just waiting. I was just hear a motor expire in the background. Just waiting for our race podium to join us. Hardigan, Gallagher and Acquisio as well. As
They are there, so you're going to have to drag those guys in if we're going to join us for a chat.
well, let's do just that then and bring them all the way down to where all the action really happens in the comm booth. Welcome in, gentlemen, as we welcome our podium. Jason Hardigan first, Hamish Gallagher second, and Lachlan Acquisio in third place. Good battle at the front between you two boys for a majority of the race there.
Yeah, that was fun. I guess I was playing games with Hamish at the end. I was sort of just like, messing with him, just seeing if he would take the bait, but he didn't. So.
Yeah, no, he was definitely backing up in the quarter, and I was giving a little few taps, but I was like, I don't want to. I learnt my lesson in the first one, so I was a bit more gun shy tonight.
Yeah,
I really wanted them to come together.
Yeah. No surprises there.
Yeah.
We did see you back out at the end there, just to you gave a little bit of a tap, but played the caution and pulled it back to make sure that you didn't end up getting any penalties as a result of that. But it was nice and close the whole way through. Particularly running a lower line after the early damage there as well, Hamish. That worked in your favour quite a lot.
Yeah, it was a pretty tight setup, so I was running the left sides sort of on the apron to help get the car turn a little bit, and it was working for me, so I just kept at it.
I don't know how he did it. Every time I went down there, the car would car would tighten up even more and ended up in the outside wall. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah, I tried it a few times. It was definitely the line to take, if you wanted to do it. So.
No,
Just one of the things I wanted to touch on real quick is, Lockie, you took looked like you took 2 tyres in the pit
Yeah.
stop in the middle of the race there. Just talk us through the thinking behind that and what you're hoping to gain. Obviously, track position, but did you think you were going to be able to hold off those guys behind you, or was it more of a chance to get out in front of everybody else behind?
I knew that if I could get the track position, I could definitely hold it for at least 4 or 5 laps over Jason and maybe a little bit longer on Hamish. But the way it sort of panned out, the pace car did a real funny thing, and we all got caught off guard. If I had got my good restart like I got right at the start of the race, I might have been able to get out in front of Jason, hold him for 3 or 4 laps. But yeah, I kind of sort of got caught off guard, and Jace got the jump on me. So it was a shame. I think it could have worked on 2 because it was only, I think, 98% on the left sides. But I made the mistake and cost myself because I managed to hold Hamish behind for quite a few laps, but then he got past in the end anyway because I hit the wall quite hard.
Yeah, good pole position there at the beginning of the race anyway, and we were kind of hoping that there was going to be a little bit of a little bit more contact between Hardigan and Gallagher there just after the first race. And I noticed, Hamish, you're running a very similar sort of line in the street stock race at the start as you're running in the late model in the feature race. So is that just something that you found worked across all the cars, or were you doing it more or less with one of the particular cars more than another?
Probably more the late model way. As I said, the setup was way tighter, and this street stock was quite fun to drive. I didn't have to use it as much. But I figured if I got past Jason anyway, for the next corner, I would have been fully sent into the outside wall, so I was sort of in a hiding to nothing. So.
Yeah, you would have got the bumper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Hardigan managing to recover there from the disappointing result in the straight stock race to get up there into the first place. One of the things that we were watching during that race, and you kind of explained it a little bit when you said that you were trying to bait Hamish, but certainly it appeared as though Gallagher was gaining all the time on you in the entry and mid turn, whereas you were just coming off the corner a lot better, and it was really difficult for anyone to make a move when you do that.
Yeah, well, I actually learned that from you, so cheers for that.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's just count our blessings, I suppose, that you didn't learn anything else from me, given my performance last week and the reason I'm in the booth. So, so perhaps just limit your learning to that.
I might not have. Oops.
Nah, that was a fun race at the end. I was surprised I got such a gap at the start, actually, because I don't know what happened with Lockie, but he sort of just dropped right back, and then
I hit the wall.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
And then I saw Gallagher behind me, and I was just cruising, and I was hoping for a caution at some point. And it came, and it's good.
And so, Lockie, you're going to have to wait another week to get some retribution on Edward. What have you got planned for next week, mate? Have you been practicing any sort of tactics that you might be able to slyly shift past race control or anything like that?
It's going to be difficult, seeing as I won't be here, but he can try.
Well, we'll have to wait a week longer then. There's a practice. There's a practice session involved.
Yeah, I got a good memory. I can hold out for a couple more weeks. It's all right. Don't worry.
Trust me.
Don't forget.
It pays, man. I held it for 3 months in previous events. It works.
Wait till he forgets about it and get him when he least expects it.
That's the one.
I remember old Purnell getting the hump on with me after about 2 years later. He's still bringing something up. So,
man, I've got a list. I'll just put it that way. There's a list.
Why does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just another trick that they picked up from you, Ed.
Possibly. I'm not the one with the list, though. That must have come from somewhere else.
Hey, I wonder where.
No, it doesn't have a list. He just has this one guy that just pisses him off, and then that's it. One guy at a time, basically.
One guy at a time. It's the way to do it. Well, look, definitely a really good race for us to look at the end of the night there. A close finish with some really strong running from everyone. So thank you for a fantastic race, gentlemen. We really enjoyed it.
It's definitely better than last week, eh?
Yeah, well, look, it's definitely more finishes this week. In fact, I think we doubled the number of finishes this week, so that is some sort of effort. But no, definitely fantastic running and a great track.
Definitely, I love it. I love short tracks.
So
Yeah, Lanier's not one of my favourites, but that'll do.
alrighty, so I think that just about brings things to a close here this evening for our Wednesday night Speedway with ANZCAR. Ed, thank you very much for jumping in the booth with us tonight. It took a little bit of the pressure off me, to be brutally honest, and I learnt a fair bit listening to your commentary as well. So, but looking forward to getting back out on track in a couple of weeks' time. And as always, Chris, with special comments throughout the evening?
Oh, no, I don't really have too much to add. I think the battle between Hamish and Jason was a lot of fun to watch, and it was interesting to see the cars at different parts of the corner and how they were reacting to how the drivers' inputs were. But yeah, apart from that, it's enjoyable. Hopefully next week we can build up the grid a little bit more, get a few more cars on the track, and yeah, looking forward to wherever we end up for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, if you are looking to get some oval track experience, all jokes aside, the guys here always happy to share and help to get guys a little bit faster in the interest of improving the series. So jump onto the ANZCAR Facebook page, and if you are interested in getting involved, shoot a message through and get yourself out on the grid for our event next week. We would definitely look forward to seeing a few extra numbers on the grid next week, and hopefully bolstering out this field a little bit as we get through the next Speedway round. So that brings our broadcast to an end for this evening. And as usual, thank you very much to everyone who joined us throughout the evening, whether you came for the disappointment of Fall Guys all the way through to the fantastic conclusion of the evening. We've thoroughly enjoyed bringing it to you on FGM, your place for pace. We will see you probably on Friday night, I think, for an up late. I heard some rumours that may be happening this Friday night from 10 o'clock onwards. And as usual, we'll have some motorsport coverage for you over the weekend with Petit Le Mans on from around about midday on Saturday. So do join us for that 10-hour race as well, where VMM and 981 will try and conquer Road Atlanta. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time on FGM eCAst.